Hey guys! So before I actually talk about the book, look at this. 2 videos, less than 1 week. What is going on? Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about the Scorch Trials, which is the second book in the Maze Runner trilogy. So, let's do it! Alright, so many times throughout this book, I was just like, what? There were so many different twists and turns, and I really like that about it. It's a lot more dynamic than the first one was, I think. So, that's really good. I did find this one a little harder to get through, though, just meaning that it took me a long time, or it took me longer than the Maze Runner did. I think that may have been because there was so much more going on with the characters. The Maze Runner was focused more on setting up the plot, and the Scorch Trials was a lot more character driven. So I felt like I could take my time with it and get to know the characters and understand it a little better than I did the Maze Runner. So I wasn't, in a hurry trying to figure out why. So I was just able to focus on what the situation was and what the characters were doing about it, which is sort of a parallel for how Thomas is, because in the first one it's very fast-paced because he's trying to figure out what's going on. And so as a reader, you are on this journey with him trying to figure out what's going on. So in the Scorch Trials, he has to stop and focus and figure out things and do it in a way that isn't going to be too reckless. So as a reader, you're forced to slow down and stop and think about what's going on. On the topic of characters, this one introduces a lot of new characters whom I really like for the most part, but I was really worried about the introduction of one of them because it was Brenda, and she's another, female protagonist, I guess, kind of, sorta. So I was really worried that it was going to turn into a love triangle, and I was dreading that because I don't understand why so many authors now seem to think that love triangles are necessary, because they're just not. Especially not in dystopian novels, because realistically speaking, if you're a teenager stuck inside a post-apocalyptic world, you're not going to be worried about whether or not this boy likes you. You got bigger fish to fry. So I was just really happy that it didn't happen. And it turns out I really like Brenda. I like her a lot, and a lot more than I do Teresa, actually. Because in this novel, Teresa, really started to get on my nerves, and I just really disliked her. Even though she wasn't exactly in every scene, it was just the idea of her really bothered me. And still, on the topic of characters, Newt became my favorite character. I just really liked the arc he was starting to go through. And, yeah, he's a great character. I guess it's kind of unfortunate that I really like him as a character, because it generally means something bad's gonna happen. So, yeah. But overall, Newt, definitely my favorite character thus far in the series. And also, in the vein of character development, the setting really paves the way for character development in here, because in the first one they were in a very controlled environment, and so they really didn't have very much room to grow. And in this one, they're essentially out on their own. It's still sort of a controlled environment in a way, but it is also a lot more dangerous and a lot more unpredictable than the Glade was. So they're forced to grow up and go through character development. And I'm happy to say that I don't really think any of the characters are flat characters. They all have some sort of arc that they're starting to go through in this one, and that's really good. So in addition to forcing character development, it also sets up a really nice contrast to what the Glade was like. As I just said, it is a lot more dangerous and a lot more unpredictable. And it sort of hints at the crumbling of the experiment you find out is going on in the first one. It also serves to open up the reader's eyes about what's going on. And I think that's really important, that you realize there are people, because there are real people in this that aren't necessarily part of the experiment. So it sort of starts to tell the reader what their world is actually like. And it also sets up a great contrast that you'll see in the third one with what that setting is like. So I think that's great too. So yeah, that's basically just kind of it. This novel is better than the first in my opinion, because it is more character driven. The setting is great. No love triangles. So that right there is a plus and a half. It sets up really well for the next novel. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's definitely worth the read. So my next video is going to be on The Death Cure, which is the third novel in the Maze Runner trilogy. And the video won't be out until sometime after the first of the year. So that being said, if you celebrate, I hope you have a wonderful, happy Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate, I still hope you have a wonderful, happy day on that day and the days before and after. So, yeah, I will see you soon.